we drive a lot, like more than most people you know. We have 3 kids at different schools with different after-school programs, and my husband and I share one car right now, our Tesla Model 3, which does happen to be the single most efficient EV ever built. So together we are driving an average of 32,000 miles a year. But before I even get into everything, please make sure that you tap that like button and subscribe to this channel. Now, unless you live under a rock, you've seen some of the jokes.
I'm willing to pay $4 a gallon. Hell, I'll pay $15 a gallon because I drive a Tesla.
The jokes and the memes and the tweets out there showing just how outrageous gas prices have gotten recently. Parts of California are now pushing $7 a gallon, and the lowest prices are actually here where I live in the South, but for our standards, $4 a gallon is just as ridiculous as $7 is in California. So a couple of years ago, you might remember I posted this video called Why Model 3's Price is the Most Misleading Number in Automotive History, where we highlighted a study showing how Model 3 would actually cost less than a Toyota Camry after 5 years, even though the initial price of the Camry was $14,000 cheaper. And if you haven't seen that video, I think that you guys will enjoy it, so I'll link it below. But basically, the study looked at every imaginable metric in an average car ownership period of 5 years, but side by side, it's pretty easy to see how financing fees and tax and title fees are clearly more expensive with the Tesla. Insurance turned out to be pretty comparable, and of course, Tesla had the massive advantage in fuel costs, maintenance and repairs, and resale value. And in the end, after 5 years of ownership, based on the data looking at thousands of Model 3s against Camrys, the true cost of the Camry ended up being about $1,500 more than the Tesla. But a lot has changed since 2019, from strong Tesla resale values right now to the wild gas prices. So the numbers have skewed even more in favor of EVs, and the number I was able to dig up really is just blowing my mind right now, so I had to make this video to share it with you guys. But first, I want to let you know that Charity Stars, the group that gave away Performance Model Y to one of our viewers last year, is now raffling off a 2022 Plaid Model S. Of course, the Plaid Model S is the quickest production car ever built, with a 0 to 60 of 2 seconds, over 1,000 horsepower, and almost 400 miles of range. Donations benefit One Tree Planted, who, as their name implies, plants one tree with every dollar donated. Since 2014, they've planted over 40 million trees across 43 different countries. So to enter, go to CharityStars.com/KimJava and enter code KimJava for 100 free entries. Once again, that's CharityStars.com/KimJava for your chance to win a 2022 Plaid Model S. Taxes and shipping are paid for, by the way, for US winners. All right, so let's get back to it, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly how much it cost me to drive 32,000 miles a year with one of the most efficient cars ever built, and the savings that come with our Model 3 over a gas car, given the current crazy gas prices right now. So I'm over here on a website called ChooseEV.com, which is a really ingenious website that uses US Department of Energy data and calculates your fuel costs in a gas car versus an EV of your choice in a drop-down menu. So here we've got the national average of $4.05 a gallon as a baseline for gas, and you can change that to whatever price is accurate for you in your area. For us here in Georgia, it is actually right at the 405 range, so I'll keep it there. The average gas mileage for the car in the US is 24.9 miles a gallon, but again, you can modify that or just choose your specific car in this drop-down menu for a better representation. And to the right of that, you'll see the estimated miles per kilowatt hour for the EV comparison. So I'll choose our 2018 Tesla Model 3 long range. The utility rate for us here in Georgia is pretty close to the national average of 13 cents a kilowatt hour. Ours is 12 cents, so I'll add that there. So with the baseline numbers in, you see that $4 a gallon takes your average car 25 miles down the road, whereas that same $4 fuels our Model 3 about 130 miles, or 105 more miles driving for the price of 1 gallon of gas. So another way to look at all this is that filling an 18-gallon gas tank would cost you around $72 at the national average, whereas a Model 3 topped off at the national utility average will cost just under $10, meaning it's almost 90% cheaper to fuel an EV than an average gas car right now. Essentially, Even in the most expensive states, you can drive this car paying the equivalent of less than $2 a gallon right now. So when you hear people say an EV costs more, you might want to fact check them because the cheapest Tesla, the standard range Model 3, costs about $45,000 without any incentives, while according to Kelley Blue Book, the average sales price of a new car in the US was little more than $46,000 last year. Now, the more you drive an EV, the crazier the savings get. So when you look at our annual driving of 32,000 miles, an average gas car would cost us over $5,200 in fuel, whereas our Model 3 costs about $990 to cover those 32,000 miles of driving. Of course, gas prices haven't been $4 a gallon over this past year, but there's every indication that it's going to be close to that or even more moving forward for probably a while now. And regardless, the cost to fuel an EV almost never changes, and a lot of utility companies also have off-peak rates to encourage you to run those higher loads at nights or even on the weekends. But when you look at the bigger picture, you see that if prices were to stay around this level over a 5-year period of ownership, you would be spending more than $26,000 in gas alone versus about $5,000 in a Model 3. And what's interesting is that we actually have free supercharging right now in our Model 3, but we really only use it on road trips because of the convenience factor of just being able to charge at home. You can plug it in, you go to bed, and it's super affordable, so it's really a no-brainer for us. Also, in these price comparisons, you've got to remember that I'm comparing the average MPG of a gas car in the US, but most of you already know that if you were to compare a gas car with similar performance to a Model 3 with things like the 0 to 60 times, tech, and features, you'd probably be looking at a car with a much worse gas mileage than just 25 miles a gallon. There's also the savings that come from the fact that most EVs just have a few dozen moving parts versus an internal combustion engine that has a few thousand moving parts, so there's less maintenance, no oil changes, even things like your brake pads last much longer because of the regen braking that's in an EV. But we've covered those ad nauseum, so I will just link a couple videos below for you to check out. And if you think, well, just wait for your EV to break down, those items cost a lot more than gas cars to repair, well, that is not true either. 2 years ago, Consumer Reports, the group that hasn't necessarily been that fond of Tesla, actually released a study showing just how much people spend on maintenance costs of an EV, plug-in hybrids, and gas cars, and they put it all side by side, and they broke this down with cars that had 50, 100, and 200,000 miles of driving, and you'll see that the cost savings are night and day between how an EV performs in long-term maintenance costs versus a gas car, regardless of what people might tell you about the cost to repair a Tesla or any battery FUD. So case in point for us is that after over 60,000 miles, the only cost that we had to pay out of pocket was when we paid $900 for a set of new tires when we got to 50,000 miles. Literally 0 service charges in over 4 years of ownership. So this is the video to forward to all of your hater friends out there and tell them, I told you so. And honestly, I know a lot of Tesla and EV owners that get to charge for free. So whether it's at work or at home or using solar panels, the cost can even be lower for some. And speaking of solar, you guys might remember a video that we did a couple months ago about an Austin-based company called EV Solar Kits that's developing premium rooftop solar panels and extendable solar kits for the Model 3 and Y. And I'll link that video below as well, but they actually just started taking orders now for their solar kits with deliveries coming later this summer. And we ended up putting in an order for one of their 600-watt Model 3 rooftop kits that can give you as much as 25 miles of range a day, depending on where you live. So honestly, I was pretty impressed with how affordable these kits were. So once we get ours, we'll definitely give you an in-depth look at all that. And if you're interested, use the code KIMJAVA20 and get 20% off their solar kits. So check out the description for all these links and the videos that we covered today. And if you enjoyed this video, we really appreciate a like and a subscribe. And we will catch you guys next time. And be sure to forward this video to all the haters to spread the truth out there. See you guys next time.